this is a little longer than I thought it was. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another installment of The Deviled Advocate. It's your host, it's old Sam. You know me. I'm chilling. If I'm not chilling, I'm trying to chill as soon as possible. Tonight, I am chilling with real-life married couple, real-life podcasters, real-life friends of mine. Believe it or not, they exist. Pascal, Lauren, welcome back to the studio, if we can call it that.
Absolutely.
How are you doing? You guys hanging in there? Keeping it easy?
No, we're not.
Was that intro music because it's Minnesota Mysteries?
That absolutely was. Yeah. I wrote that and recorded it today. I didn't record it. I used autoplay features on GarageBand, but
You made that?
yeah.
No way,
wow.
dude.
Yeah.
So, real quick, we have some unfortunate news to bring up, which is that after doing the last couple episodes of our Minnesota Mysteries series, stuff has started to happen in our house. Spooky stuff. And I think, I'm sorry to say, we are haunted now. So we will not be returning for season 2.
Oh,
This is
terrible news.
We have to deal with this haunted problem first.
I don't know why that wouldn't be a running part of season 2.
And if we do end up surviving, you'll hear a season 2. But otherwise,
Let's hear a little
I
bit
don't know
about.
where
right
you're
now.
going with this because that's a fat lie.
Are you talking about the fact that you recently moved in with your in-laws, and you got a little monster in-law situation going on? I'm all ears for hauntings, though, because I would like to talk to you guys about that a little bit.
It's an old house, and as you know, old houses are the recipe for hauntings.
It
But
used
unfortunately, I don't think it is haunted.
to be a yoga studio.
Oh, that's right.
Like, what its original
Like,
use
it
was a yoga
literally-
studio.
Well,
Not its original.
How
but
old?
it's
Okay,
close-
I was gonna say, how old is it? Like
It's-
8 years?
No, it's close to 100 years old now, but it used to be a yoga studio.
the prior owner was
The previous owner, yeah.
Yeah.
So is
was-
is there a nice open layout?
Nope,
Nope,
it's horrible.
not at all.
It's literally the
Really,
worst.
really
okay,
bad.
so it's
Why
made
do they
by
do yoga in a like closed situation? That's
It's
bonkers.
set up as a duplex, so it's kind of like we live on the second floor.
not a normal duplex though.
No, not
the
a normal
architect.
duplex.
He's some famous architect from the 1930s or whatever, and he decided to experiment a little bit with the
With
design
this
of this
house,
literally with this
specifically.
house.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's got the funkiest layout of any house on Summit, especially.
Sure.
So it's like, I don't know, it's so unappetizing in a way. If you catch my drift. Like I don't know. If I was looking for a house, I would not want that house because it's got a
No.
funky layout.
What do you think
Yeah.
of the layout of this house? This is kind of funky. It's a little too open for me.
I love
know.
it. The
I like
banister
it.
and
I do.
the-
I like it too.
Yeah, the little loft and the bar. It's
split
great.
level.
Yeah.
It's
It does
tough to
have-
do stuff up here and down there and like not
Right.
mesh noise. But
Yeah.
that's why I tell people we're recording and they just stay away. You know, they just give me the house to myself and
I've really only seen this portion of the house, so maybe we can all set down our mics and everyone can wait for us to take a tour and we'll come back in about 20 minutes.
yeah, it's a small house. I mean, it might not take that long. If you like seeing rooms that are full of like dead lady stuff,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have 3 or 4 of those.
And so you think you are haunted?
So I want to get back into yours because you never really explained on your podcast super in depth what you think about ghosts, whether they're real or not.
I did that. I did that intentionally. But tonight is the night
Is it?
where we get down and
Oh
dirty.
man. So yeah,
Pascal's ghost theory.
I've actively not believed in ghosts for so long that now I see them all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that I've grown to love adult Haley Joel Osment and I want to be like him. So this is the first step.
What is to love about that man?
Have you seen him? He's a
I have seen him.
big furry smiley boy.
Oh my goodness.
You know, if I
Okay.
could grow a beard like Haley Joel Osment, I'd be a happy camper.
Doesn't he have kind of a scraggly beard?
No, I think you're thinking of Macaulay Culkin or
Well,
like
I'm
Frankie
not.
Muniz.
That's a
or-
stretch.
No, not a different child actor.
Oh my god. Maybe they have Beans from Even Stevens.
Oh, he did
He
not.
turned up to be a
Yeah.
weird looking. Do you know who we're talking about, Pascal?
No idea.
Yeah, okay.
Beans from Even Stevens.
No idea.
Does Gassy have 2 S's or 3? It's something he says.
Yeah. He was the nerdy neighbor kid like trope.
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Show.
Oh. Okay.
Shia LaBeouf. Have you seen the Shia LaBeouf musical?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
If you're listening to this, you need to.
Look at
I'll
it.
post
Listen-
it. I'll post it on the Facebook.
Yeah, you
page.
got to watch the Shia LaBeouf musical. It's like 3 minutes long and it's fucking hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
You know what? Does it end with him like clapping in a theater?
Yes.
it does.
I'm
You've
sorry
seen
for
it.
the spoilers, guys, but I have seen that. Yeah. It's very funny. He blew up recently. Like, I don't know, just doing weird stuff, like
He's-
freestyle raps and.
What?
That doesn't
Oh,
surprise me
yeah.
too
Yeah, I
much
guess
at
it
all.
doesn't surprise me,
He's doing lots of crazy stuff all the time.
If you
Last
haven't seen Shia LaBeouf
years.
freestyle rap, you gotta look that up too. Right after
Oh.
the musical, it's bonkers.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
He's good.
I'm looking that up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, well, it's not great, but it's all right. So I don't know if we said it. You guys host the podcast Minnesota Mysteries.
Yes.
You just
Minnesota Mysteries.
just wrapped season 1,
Mm-hmm.
right? When did that last episode come out?
2 weeks ago?
2
Yep.
weeks ago?
Right
on
before
Friday.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
the Friday.
Days
Yeah.
before.
Sure, because you put out a warning to anybody who might be feeling bad to just stay home and not ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, if you're
Yep,
feeling
that's
sick,
right.
don't go out and infect everybody.
That's great.
Yeah.
I would just stay home all the time. Though.
That's what we
Anyway.
do because Lauren's horrified of outside.
That's true. I
Is
didn't
this-
think we were going to get into that
She
today,
thinks
but-
there's ghosts inside, but outside there's germs and diseases and bad people. So I'm like, where do we go? With the ghosts or with the
Yeah.
the real world problems?
That is a tough
I've convinced
one.
her to go with the ghosts at least for now.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding.
So we all believe in some sort of ghost.
Mm-hmm.
What about werewolves?
I am a werewolf.
I'm the werewolf now.
Do you believe in werewolves, Sam?
Do I?
Is that where this is going?
I don't know.
I believe
Is
in
that
were,
weird? Would it be weird if I
squirrels.
did?
I don't believe in werewolves. Where
he's
squirrels
like,
though?
he's like, you don't believe in werewolves? Surprise! It's a full moon tonight. I locked the doors, and then he just starts transforming.
Oh, that would be cool, but no. I could dunk then, that'd be tight. Have
I-
you guys seen that documentary, Teen Wolf? And the follow-up documentary, Teen Wolf 2?
No.
Jason Bateman is a
They're
werewolf.
movies,
I
Pascal.
know,
Oh,
I know
okay.
their movies. I know their movies, but he said the documentary.
Yeah,
Have you seen Teen Wolf?
I have not seen them, but I'm
No.
aware of what
we
those
know
are.
what it is. Yeah.
Pascal, you've in my life have notoriously not seen everything that's good.
Okay.
And
That's
somehow
according to Lauren's life too.
Thank you.
She has a
I
specific
agree
set
with
of movies
that.
that I have to watch
they,
that I haven't loved movies until I've seen them.
sure. That makes sense.
It's fun for every person. It's fun learning each individual's set of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I
Must
don't-
watches.
I don't want to watch most people's movies.
Me neither.
I
to
just
be
want to watch
honest.
mine.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
Lauren's, I
follow
guess.
that.
Yeah,
but-
I have to watch
Like
Lauren's,
the
so
hot
don't
chick.
joke about that.
with Anna Faris and
Yeah.
what's his name? Rob
Schneider.
Schneider. Yeah.
Yeah. That one's
classic.
great. Rob Schneider. Do you know Rob Schneider? He had a lot of really hokey comedies in the late 90s, early aughts.
He plays every single character ever.
Yeah. You can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do.
It's like
Yeah,
like Pauly
from-
Shore, but not
from,
like a total
yeah.
weasel.
Yeah.
Longest Yard. I get that reference right there. I know who he is. I'm aware.
Good. That's a first.
It is a first.
When are you guys putting out season 2?
First Friday in May, I believe.
Tight. So it's
Yeah.
coming.
It's
Yeah.
coming up. Yep,
Right
we're
on.
already starting to investigate.
So like, do you have your whole season planned out?
No.
So here's how we do it, Sam. We have sort of collected all of the stories that we could find on the internet, and we have them just compiled on this little, like the notes document on your computer.
Sure.
And then we just pick one off. Like, I'm going to do this one this week, and I'm going to do this one that week. And that's how we choose them. So it's not even
There's
that.
one more ingredient too, but it's a secret.
Is there like a dartboard that's involved or something?
We cut off we have like a what is it in South Park where they have different like placemats on the floor for different topics, and then you cut off a chicken's head, and wherever it lands and dies, that's the topic you do.
Yeah, sure.
That's what we do.
Right.
That's great. I just talk about whatever comes to my head.
Well, that works too.
I could have a fresh chicken every week.
Exactly.
Fresh
There you
day.
go.
Well, I know you probably hate when people give you suggestions for what to do on your podcast.
Not
no,
at
we
all.
love it.
Do you?
We
Because I
really like suggestions.
I hate it.
Oh,
Well-
well, for we're covering like cases, so I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
probably
Like,
different
people
because then
recommending cases.
if
to
I
us.
were to tell you like
Encourage
you
it.
should do this differently or you should do this instead, and your podcast specifically is literally it's more about like you and your guests, and it's a different
Yeah.
experience every time. I'd be kind of like, how about you shut the fuck up? But for ours, it's like it's like if somebody has a case, or if they're like, oh, we want them to be longer, or you guys should give less information, more talk, more information, less talk, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, we want that information, you know?
It's good feedback.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good feedback.
We like.
I think
good
more
feedback.
information and more talk from you guys.
Yeah,
You want
I
it
think
to
you
be
could-
we're
longer?
gonna make
I
them
think
longer.
they could be a little longer.
Season 2 will have longer episodes. That
It's
is
funny
one of
because
our,
when I was first trying to promote it, a lot of people were like, I'll listen to them, but are they long?
I know.
And
Yeah.
I
Same
was
thing
like,
happened here.
actually, no, the first episode's like 11 minutes. He's like, fine.
I think that was a really smart way to do it.
Yeah.
I started with like 20 and then bumped up to like an hour 40, and I was like, okay, so there is a line,
That's the way.
and that it's definitely near an hour.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen past that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I've gotten a lot of suggestions, and I've written them down. I think some of them would be good for your guys' podcast.
Yeah.
One of them is the mystery of why people think Prince is good.
Oh my
It's
God.
a Minnesota mystery. One is just like, and this has been suggested to me, just do a Ouija board. Just like live stream a Ouija board. I'm too scared.
I'm
'Cause
also too scared.
now
to
I
be
be-
honest, I'm not messing with this.
Now I believe in ghosts.
I have a Ouija board story.
She does.
And
If I die, Sam.
If I love that, you're as optimistic as I am.
Yeah. See,
Every
I
human
am.
being believes it.
If, not when.
Maybe
Not
we
when.
won't die. Maybe
If I
we'll be
die.
the one that lives forever.
So I played with Ouija boards growing up, and surprised they never worked. But the reason why they don't work is it depends on who you're playing with. If the person you're playing with isn't as open as you are, then you're not going to reach anything. Nothing's going to be able to touch you if the person you're with is closed off. You need to be
Sure.
both open. So I finally found this girl in high school who I ended up living with for 8 years, who was as open as I was. And we would play with my Ouija board. And there was one time we broke it out. We were like, let's just, whatever. Let's test this. Because, it's always like, are you pushing it? No, you're pushing it. No, I'm not. So we're like, let's test this. So we wrote down on scraps of paper the numbers 0 through 9. And we would shuffle them up behind our backs and then pick one up without looking at it, holding it behind our backs and say, ask the Ouija board, what number am I holding? Literally, it got it right like every single time. And we were so weirded out and stoked about it that we probably asked it 30 times because it was just like, let's see if it does it again. Okay, let's see if it does it again. And just like completely wore it out. And then the Ouija board got tired of us. And then after that, we just felt this really dark, ominous feeling, this like heaviness, this weight in the house. And so we were like, we need to bury the Ouija board or burn it because it's supposedly.
You don't want to burn a Ouija board.
That's what it was. That's why you have to bury it.
Yeah.
And so we were gonna
That's
bury
bad
it.
news.
And we never got around to burying it, but I accidentally left it at my family friend's house, and I think they threw it away. And so I was kind of like, well,
Yeah.
it's out of my hair. So
If it,
I
if it
definitely
went
thought
into
you
the
buried
garbage, it ended up in the landfill.
we were supposed to bury it, and we never did.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you have this discussion before you got married?
No, we
Like,
didn't.
all right,
Finding out
what baggage
so
do you bring?
many-
And are you possibly haunted?
Yeah. Make sure to ask.
I think
I'm
that's
serious.
first date fodder, right?
Yeah. Get that out of the way. Don't waste any time.
Have you crossed any gypsies lately? 'Cause I don't know if I'm committed to that hex. So maybe don't do a Ouija board.
No,
specifically
we're done with Ouija
Pascal.
boards.
It doesn't sound like he's
Yeah.
super
He's
open
freaked
to
out
it.
by them.
I'm freaked out.
Yeah.
How can a piece of wood with letters on it be so spooky? Right?
Because there's we believe that there's a chance that something might happen,
Oh yeah.
right? There's a chance
But it's
something spooky. I
It's
can't
trademarked
explain what
by
that is, but
Hasbro.
I'm saying that
Like a Ouija board. This is true. A Ouija board is a toy,
Yeah.
it
but
is.
like Tickle Me Elmo summons demons, right?
Yeah,
That
he
shit's
does.
super annoying.
yeah.
Yeah.
If not just out of me wanting my nephews to shut up, quit pushing the damn button. So what about like staying in a haunted house for a night and like
Oh,
just like recording the whole thing and cutting together?
I would.
I would whine a lot of the time, but I would do it because
yeah,
I think it would
I
make
would
for
do
something
that.
interesting.
One night I could do. I mentioned it on our podcast 11 that to really get to the bottom of things, I would want to stay by myself for like a week.
Oh, sure.
You know, to really get a
Absolutely.
gauge on
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
going on.
I mean, maybe a week by yourself wouldn't be so good. The
what I
hauntings
mean.
would come from you internally.
It could be.
You know,
I
I start
usually-
losing
I'm
my
actually-
mind after like 4 hours.
That's
I'm okay
what
by
I think
myself.
it
for
is.
prolonged periods of time.
I
I do fine.
a lot of ghost hunters, I think, when they go stay somewhere, they freak themselves out more than actually
Oh, that's
seeing
what I
anything
think
or
so, too.
hearing anything. They get in their own heads, and I would absolutely 100% get in my own head. Like, I know I would be freaking out
Yeah, you would.
immediately.
I know she would be freaking out too.
I think that's how I talk myself out of ghosts most of the time. I'm just like, it's in your head.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be scared of that.
Right.
Meanwhile, like the devil's like laughing over me with twiddling his fingers maniacally because that's evil for some reason. I thought I saw the devil like rocking over me one night when I woke up, but it was just my
Okay, so-
Canadian flag blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's hung up vertically. You're like, why do you have a Canadian flag? It's aesthetic. It's a good look. People think I'm Canadian. It's all right.
Well, then they don't hate you because you're not American. They're like,
No.
oh, Canadian.
There's an American flag hanging up too.
Oh, no. Is it
Yeah.
upside down at least?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Baller.
No, but I would like to get a Mexican flag as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Is it your
just-
second time going to Mexico?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go back next summer. If not this summer, that would be tight.
Hang with the homies, get smashed, watch some movies, some flicks.
Yeah, that's about all we did. We saw some historic stuff too, but I mean nothing too boring.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they kept wanting to go to pyramids, and we're like, how about we don't? That sounds like a lot of work, and doesn't sound like they have liter beers for like 30 cents.
Yeah,
And
they should.
Those are pretty hard to turn
I guess
down.
tourists would maybe topple down the pyramid,
I think that's a
You can
big
climb
worry.
them.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
That's true.
you can. Yeah.
Get drunk and topple down and crack your head and Humpty Dumpty fell off the pyramid and cracked
Yep.
his head.
If you guys have never been to Mexico, I highly
We have
recommend
not.
it.
Or I have not.
I have not.
No, yeah, we have not.
Where'd you go for your honeymoon?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Oof.
Yeah.
Is it like a delayed thing? Like, are you gonna do it?
We're going to
We want to move soon
Oh yeah,
on a
that's
separate
right.
a separate thing. So
yeah. However,
we
so
still want to go to.
we were looking at moving to Seattle, and so like any good citizen of the Reddit community, I asked subreddit Seattle about moving there, like relocating to Seattle, and what companies we should apply to. And the responses I got were like serious warnings to stay away from Seattle and like don't even try, like blah blah blah, like you're not gonna find any work, I can't even get hired, or like, oh, it's expensive living is too high, you'll never make it, blah blah blah, all this stuff, or like, oh, it's not even that great, you'll never find a job, it's not great. And I was like, is this kind of reminded me of like when people from Minneapolis ask how St. Paul is, and
Oh,
people
for
from
sure.
St. Paul are like, no, it sucks, don't come here, because we just
It's
don't
our
want
little
them
paradise.
to come here.
Yeah. You know, if I want to stay out past 10, I'll go to Minneapolis.
I'm
but
like, are they doing this to me right now? Kind of think they are.
I think it's a lot to take in living there. Like, have you guys
Yeah.
spent time there?
We're
no,
gonna go
we
in
are
June.
going in June.
Okay, so having never been, that's a bold choice. You know, it's got a very, very specific feel to it. You know,
In a gross way?
that and just kind of like
Oh.
sad and dirty.
Kind of.
It's beautiful. Like I would move there in a heartbeat.
Is it
Right.
because it's so rainy and cloudy that's sad? Or just the
There's-
people make you sad because they suck?
The people, I don't know. It's a working class town.
Okay.
So like Duluth.
Okay.
It's like a port city, so you've got a lot of hardworking blue collar people. But that I don't know. I'm speaking literally out of my ass right now. That combines with like the Bill Gates is from there, so I think that's where Windows is located or whatever he.
Yeah.
is,
Microsoft. Yeah.
So yeah, so you've got this weird, like in Seattle, dichotomy of people that like certain people are driving up the living wage, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tech companies. You've got these working class citizens who can't afford to live in the cities.
Okay.
And so there's this huge commute. There's rooms everywhere, but nobody can afford to live there.
Oh.
And then also it's like rainy and shit all the time.
We
I
love the rain.
rain.
I also
But-
do.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like,
We'll check it out.
if
We're
there's
gonna-
shitty people,
we're gonna
yeah,
check
that's
it out.
we're gonna see in June. The idea, we've never been there, but the idea of like gloomy weather is like a filmmaker's dream.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, heck yeah, I want to go there so bad. So we'll see in June what the atmosphere is like, what the tone is like, if it sucks or not.
So why Seattle? Just
There's video game companies there that I have interest in.
chasing the dream.
That's right.
I can support that.
That's the main reason.
I just move out there because it's closer to the West Coast than here.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
It's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do is live on a coast,
Yeah.
A
right?
coast. Any coast.
Specifically the West Coast.
Coast to coast.
Costa Rica would be cool. I think that's the only one I've got. East Coast would be all right, but I don't think I've got a personality for the East Coast.
I think if you stay away from New York and New Jersey, stay away from the newbies.
I think that's the only place I want to go.
I would go to Maryland.
I
I'd
definitely,
I'd
I
go
definitely
to a
couldn't
lot
do
of different
Maryland.
places. I'm
Really?
just trying
Too
get
close
out
to
of-
DC.
Ooh. What are you planning on doing that you can't be that close to DC?
If nuclear bombs.
I just-
Oh, bombs,
the-
nuclear
yeah.
bombs. Gotcha.
I have been making I don't want to say that.
You've been.
I don't want people to use that against
This is
me
gonna
sometime.
get flagged immediately.
I don't know. Then they'd sue me for all the copyright. I don't pay anybody for music, but I still put a song at the end of every episode. Just hoping to get sued because no publicity is bad publicity. Publicity is good publicity.
It's all publicity is good publicity. That's what it is.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I need
We
to
should
hire
warm
a
up with that
manager.
for episodes now.
All publicity is good publicity. That is kind of a tongue twister. Say it, Pascal.
All publicity is good publicity.
That was really good.
That was
Wow,
a good job.
you did
You
it
could
the best.
hear the confidence there.
I could sense it. I could feel it from over here.
Oh yeah, my eyes just locked on Sam wide open when I said it. I was like,
Yeah,
Sam's gonna be my scary teacher
Channeled
when we do
his
this.
energy.
Yeah.
Stole his soul.
because now I don't feel anything. It's like I just want.
Did you before?
No, that's a good point. I try not to. It's a goal. And, if there are feelings or emotions, you just bottle them down.
Yeah.
That's healthy, I think.
Solemn.
Yeah, that's how our
Sell
parents
on the
taught us to do it.
black market.
Right?
Yeah.
Feelings in a jar.
Yeah.
Sell that in the black market.
Oh my God. Some hippie would
Someone will
totally
buy
sell
it.
that.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
some like crust punk.
I
Bad feelings in a
fart.
jar.
don't like crust punks.
Oh,
If they didn't
Really?
have, if they
Why
didn't have,
not?
if they didn't have dogs.
I love them. They're so
Oh.
fun.
Oh yeah, who does
So
like crust punks?
crusty. They smell great.
They steal hot sauce. That might just be specific to the one I saw steal hot sauce, but
From where?
it was someplace across from Loring Pasta Bar, like Al's or something. Dinky Town.
There's the Kitty Cat Club.
No, it's the
wait,
other way.
Al's.
Across 4th. It's like a diner or something. I drive by it
Al's
all
Diner.
the time.
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what's across the street from there, but I know what you're talking about.
Loring Pasta Bar. And like a bike shop. and like a bike
Shut
shop.
up, Pascal.
Well, I don't
Al's
know.
breakfast, yeah.
It was good. They had like 2-for-1 beers, I think, and
I've never actually been in there.
same.
I've never actually been in there.
Patioed it.
Do they
Yeah.
have good brunch or do they have like
Didn't
typical
eat.
diner brunch?
Didn't eat. Just got some beers.
Oh, okay.
It was like the first week I was in the city, so we were just walking around, checking out different bar skis.
Yeah.
And turns out Dinky Town sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's my least favorite neighborhood.
I still live in Dinkytown.
Yep.
I
You
would
did.
move back there in a heartbeat because I would be closer to downtown and I'd be closer to work. Plus, there's like tons of parties. You know, and I like
know
college
about that.
kids.
It was fun.
I miss college.
Me too, low key.
Thinking about going to grad school just so I can go back to college.
Oh my goodness.
I think about grad school sometimes too.
It's a good way to put pause on adulthood, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I figure if I go to grad school, then I can profess
Exactly.
screenwriting
That's
someday.
exactly what
why
we
I
were
want to.
thinking.
Yeah.
We've literally talked about that too.
But
Like-
the thing is I'm in a different boat because these ovaries are not getting any younger.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's true.
So
You guys trying to have kids? Not like actively, but like that's a goal.
Passively.
very passively. Very soon we would like to, but we gotta.
Very soon, within the next 9 months.
Oh my
Okay.
God,
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
up.
Oh, congrats.
As I sit here like drinking beers and
Should we talk about the drinks quick that we're having?
Yes.
It's this is not brought to you by Bud Light Passion Fruit Rita's sparkling margarita, but you know, unless they want to be. So Bud Light, if you want to sponsor the podcast, let me know because these things are not bad.
I agree.
I don't.
I had one.
I'm drinking a second one.
it's really delicious.
I'm not happy. Like if I could put it over ice, maybe drink it with a straw. Now that the sun's out, maybe that's also like or the sun's not out. It's a reason why I'm not like enjoying it as much anymore.
Yeah, you need the sun out to like I got Blue Moon. So, Devil's Advocate, not sponsored by Blue Moon Belgian White.
Well, Devil's
Crisp.
Advocate isn't sponsored by anything. Devil's Advocate isn't either, unfortunately.
Did I just say Devil's Advocate?
I
Yeah.
can't say Devil's Advocate on the first try most often now because it was a tough name for people to say
I
at the
just
beginning.
love the cute little devil egg on all the podcasts.
Yeah. I'm hoping I have a new logo soon.
Oh,
One that
yeah?
more resembles me a little bit more. Still very
Are
cartoony.
you gonna give him
Just
a
a-
beard?
just
keep
a-
him and
outlining
put a
of you
beard on him.
inside
Just
the
draw
egg.
it on. Maybe put a hat on. I guess I'm not wearing a hat
Yes,
right
and
now.
glasses.
But, oh, he's got glasses.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's got glasses, and I think he has bags under his eyes.
He does.
I think so.
I gotta look at him again. He's so cute. He reminds me of like Plankton.
Oh, for sure.
From
For sure. I get that.
He's on the laptop right there. Take a
Oh, yeah.
he's right
He is
there.
right there, isn't he?
Oh, we got a sticker right here. We can take a look. Oh yeah, he's got some thick eyebrows, some glasses. He's got a little shine spot, a sunspot on his belly.
Yeah, you know, to make it look 3D,
He's
I
got some
guess.
squeaky
Yeah.
white kicks.
It's simple. Ooh.
And
Yeah,
I've
he
I've
just-
never worn white kicks. All right, we are back. Brief technical difficulties as always. I wanted to have a little fun because you guys have a mystery podcast and you like spooky things, and I like spooky things. I thought maybe Pascal,
Yeah.
do you like spooky things?
No,
He looks pretty spooked right now.
You
I
look
don't
scared.
like spooky things.
You look pretty spooked right now.
The sun's gone down and it's getting scary out.
We're talking about Ouija boards and werewolves, and it's just too much for me.
Speaking of
Yeah.
werewolves, do you guys believe in vampires?
No. Well, what? How are you defining a vampire?
Oh my
Somebody
God,
who
what are
bites
you-
and drinks blood.
How are
Because-
you defining it that you would believe
That's-
in
No,
it,
because-
Pascal?
That's a good point.
How I would define it is kind of just exactly what he said, like someone who drinks blood and bites
Turns into a
people.
bat.
So not turns into the bat, but if
Like,
we're just
yeah.
talking strictly someone who
But what-
thinks they're a vampire.
What
and
definition of a vampire would you believe in? Because that's
if
the way you
someone
sort of
says
stated it.
if someone says that they're like, if they dress
All right.
kind of weird, if they believe they're a vampire.
Pascal, I
And then they
can't.
drink someone's blood and like sharpen their teeth, literally file their teeth, and they actually bite people on the neck and assault people. And they're like, "This is the vampire that I am. I am a real vampire." And they do that stuff.
Alright.
Then I would believe it, because then I'm like, I've definitely seen like criminal cases where people, they're like, "I believe I'm a vampire," and they assault people. I've seen cases
And so you believe
like
in
that.
those
So I would
people,
believe in that kind of vampire, not like a mystical creature,
not a shapeshifter,
Okay.
not a
Okay.
shit, none of
not a
the
creature of the night.
bullshit stuff.
All right, so
A very real way.
Oh, okay.
and aliens was a no-go for you, and a yes for.
It's
for-
no, it's a yes for me. I
Yes
believe
for
in
both?
aliens, but not that they're here on Earth
Oh, for sure, they're not
or
walking.
have been
they're-
here. That's what I mean. They're not
If-
walking
if
around.
And
they-
also, he
if they're
doesn't
here,
believe in
they've been here.
intelligent life.
No, I believe in intelligent life.
thought you said you
not,
believed in, like,
not
amoebas.
as intelligent, perhaps
Perhaps I said not as intelligent as us or beyond.
There's for
I
sure.
think they're all over the goddamn
I
place.
think there's intelligent
On
life,
Earth?
but
Oh
way
yeah,
far away.
they're just like rats. They're everywhere.
Ugh. I don't like that.
I see. I don't.
Not really, but they are here.
I don't know
They're
if
swarming.
just because they exist and intelligent life is subjective.
Exactly.
You know,
There,
like
that's a
just
good way to
because they
put it.
can't read English doesn't mean they're not
Right.
smart. And we haven't figured out how to build spaceships that go that far.
Exactly, and we haven't seen anything.
Who says that the other
Confirmed that we
technology?
have.
Well, when I say
Exactly.
Or other
intelligent
people.
life, I don't mean like it needs to pass a math test. I mean like
But
it can understand that I'm looking at it.
So like
What
a
it looks at
sentient-
me.
yeah.
Not
Or a
like
dog.
not something. Yeah, it could be like it doesn't have to be.
oh, word.
Just,
So
just as
you
long
think dogs are aliens?
they could be.
I
There might
believe
be.
it.
There
Yeah,
might
absolutely.
be some. That why can they see so many ghosts? Because they're
sure.
aliens.
Wow,
I should get a
lot
dog.
of things going on in this.
Or
you
a
should get a
cat
dog.
if they're cheaper if you get one at a barn like we did.
But can they see ghosts?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, all right.
They're
well,
Logie
just
doesn't
all
know what
they
a
look
ghost
at.
is.
so that's the only thing they have going for them.
Yeah, they just look at ghosts all day.
Cats kind of suck.
What are you looking at, honey? Wow. A ghost.
We've got some creepypasta to read
Fuck yeah.
live on the egg.
Yes.
Thought it would be funny. It's the only reason I do any of this. So yeah, none of these had authors, which I thought was either made sense. Nobody wanted their names tied to it. Maybe they're all urban legend type things, and they're just stories that have existed. That being said, let's dive into one.
All right.
Have you read these before?
No.
No, he didn't read
Oh,
them. He
this
just
is
printed.
fresh.
He just printed them off for us.
You guys research and write out outlines for your podcast, and they're tight, and you learn stuff. I just kind of sit down.
I will tell you, I love creepypasta though.
This is excellent. If you've
Some
read,
good stories. I will read creepypasta and then I will not sleep at night. So,
Tonight?
these are Minnesota based, so I don't know if they're as scary as most creepypasta. I don't know if Slenderman is gonna come in or
yeah, I mean,
he might.
Slenderman is a little played out.
Oh, for sure.
So I like the raw nitty gritty shit,
Okay.
like
well, I don't know
the
if
charred woman
Like vampires?
/ the tape / the woman in the oven. So this one that you printed out for me has 3 titles. The charred woman. The other title is the woman in the oven. Okay, kind of fits with the first one. The last one is the tape.
Yeah, for sure. Haven't read it, but it came like I clicked on all 3 of those titles thinking that they would be different, and they were all
Okay.
the same story.
Okay. All right. So let's do this then.
Oh, before we get to that, did anybody comment on the blue moons?
I
I
don't
think we just talked
I-
about your pronunciation, then jumped right into the
I
sticker.
did say that the deviled advocate.
Heyo.
I said the devil's advocate though. So the deviled advocate
We're going
is
off on the
not
same track.
sponsored by Blue Moon.
It's not. They're very tasty. Thank you
They
for
are,
bringing
yeah,
beverages.
crisp, and they would have been more enjoyable in the sunlight, but we are enjoying them in the moonlight, which I guess is more fitting since it's called Blue Moon.
Yeah, there's that song like "Werewolf of Egan" about a guy walking around with a blue moon in his hand.
What?
It's a
You sing it?
ooh, werewolves vegan.
All right. Well,
He just made this
Yep.
up.
I
Right
saw a
now.
werewolf walking
just
down Lexington
made his own
Lane.
version of it.
He had a blue moon Belgian white beer in his hand.
I was like, Lauren, are you serious?
No, for sure,
Are
no.
you buying this?
Just talking about
Woo!
Werewolves of London because it's
Oh
a
my
dope track.
God.
Yeah, so I don't know what this story is about. I assume it's about a woman in an oven. Might
I'm
have
guessing
something
so,
to do with tape.
And some tape. Masking tape, duct tape, scotch tape. We'll find out. During the summer of 1983, in a quiet town near Minneapolis, Minnesota, a charred body of a woman was found inside the kitchen stove of a small farmhouse. A
That-
video camera.
Sorry, that
Ooh.
takes care of both titles.
Yeah.
2 of the 3 right away.
And then the start of the next sentence is a video camera. So
Oh.
we know that's the tape. Got it. All right.
This
The
is good. This is
tape.
good storytelling.
A video camera was also found in the kitchen, standing on a tripod and pointing at the oven. No tape was found inside the camera at the time. Although the scene was originally labeled as homicide by police, an unmarked VHS tape was later discovered at the bottom of the farm's well, which had apparently dried up earlier that year. Despite its worn condition and the fact that it contained no audio, police were still able to view the contents of the tape. Why are you waving, Pascal?
The well was empty.
I know.
So,
I was like, wait, how deep is this well that the tape is intact falling down there? I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm already in
maybe
like,
there's some sludge.
How small is the tape that it, maybe it fell lightly enough?
I'm picturing VHS size, and if it's like a
But what if it's like
15-foot
a
well, it would break.
HD Mini?
It could be.
Like that's made for extreme sports in the 07.
But if at the bottom of a well, like you're assuming that it's like bone dry, maybe there's like some
Didn't they say
sludge.
it dried up?
But did it dry up?
Dried up earlier that year.
Earlier-
So it wasn't wet. They mean like it wasn't full of water.
Okay.
So
So
like
it could've
maybe
been
there was some
damp.
sludge at the bottom, and it just
Right,
kind of
I
like
guess
broke
so.
the fall.
Bunch
I'm not
of
buying
mushrooms.
the sludge
Regardless,
broke the fall,
Pascal,
maybe. Okay.
respect the
Sorry.
story.
Sorry.
Um,
Respect the story,
respect
Pascal.
respect the fucking story, Pascal.
Respect the creepy pasta.
God damn it. So where was I? Despite its worn condition. Okay, I'll just start at that. Despite its worn condition and the fact that it contained no audio, police were still able to view the contents of the tape. See, okay. Pascal, stop it with your
Okay, I'll
faces.
just buy it. I'll buy into it.
It depicted a woman recording herself in front of a video camera, seemingly using the same camera the police found in the kitchen.
Ooh.
Seemingly.
How is it a video of her recording herself?
I'm sure she
In the mirror,
like hit record and then came around the camera and
Sure.
was like, "Hey everybody, welcome to my vlog. I'm
That
gonna
is
throw
the
myself down
First
in the
thing
oven
I did
now."
with my camera. I tried Christopher Walken impressions. Laid it down
Did
on
we
tape.
talk about that last time we were here?
We didn't talk about that specific, but we did Chris Walken impressions,
That's right.
and we all just knew the Asian
Yeah.
guys doing the impressions.
That's
that
the
YouTube
best
video.
one.
So funny.
God, it's so good. Okay. After positioning the camera to include both her and her kitchen stove in the image, the tape then showed her turning on the oven, opening the door, crawling inside, and then closing the door behind her.
Oof.
Okay.
8 minutes into the video, the oven could be seen shaking violently, after which point thick black smoke could be seen emanating from it. The camera then continued to stationary point at the oven. That's a misspelling. That wasn't me. That is the person who wrote this. So they meant to say to point. The camera then continued to point at the stationary object. Fuck this person who wrote this.
I found that a lot of like fan fiction and
So
pastas
defensive
written.
of the well, but now that you're getting further into it, you're like, wait a minute.
Well,
It's the
it's a
wording.
small
It's
typo,
tough.
but
Yeah.
it's messing you up.
I
Pascal.
think it's fine.
Essentially, it's that the camera was pointed at the oven for another 45 minutes until the battery died, and no one was seen coming out of it. So, to avoid disturbing the local community, police never released any information about the tape or even the fact that it was found. Police were also not able to determine who put the tape in the well, or why the physical stature of the woman on the tape did not in any way resemble the stature of the woman found in the oven. Are you fucking me right now?
Oh, that is creepy as hell, actually.
Well, she got burned to bits.
So it makes sense why she'd be smaller, right? Because she got burned to bits.
Do you have a cat
No, it's just an air conditioner or air freshener thing.
that hisses?
Yeah, it like
Okay.
sprays out above the door like every 15
The
minutes.
fuck?
It's an automatic. Maybe that's why you like the smell of our house. It's just constantly being air refreshed.
I love that though. I'm
That was
glad you
good,
printed
yeah.
these out. Do you want to hear another
That
one,
is
or are we good?
creepy. Hold on a second. Let's
Wait,
let's
wait.
think about this.
You want to think about this one? Okay. So
So-
she's the woman on film, according to the author of this story, thinks that she looked different than the photos probably that he saw online of the woman who turned up in the oven.
No, the woman who got into the oven is a different woman than the body of the person they found.
Is that what I just said?
The stature
No.
didn't match.
Yeah,
Something like
something
that.
like that.
So she got out and then put
a different woman into the
I mean, what
oven
she had
Oh,
to,
and then
shit.
threw the tape away. That's what I'm piecing together.
Oh my god.
So the woman who actually got in the oven was possibly the killer, or she ran away.
Also, but then how do you keep someone in an oven like without zip tying it or something? You know what I mean? If the
Well, we don't know.
stove
It
was
doesn't matter. We
shaking-
didn't get to see it because this
And-
happens off camera. The
It
woman
says
whose
it-
body was found was a different woman than we saw got in. So
but the woman that
after
got in voluntarily by all.
That's what I mean. So maybe she
counts.
got out and then she's like, "This is my suicide video" or whatever, getting into an oven.
Yeah,
And
but
then
we in the videotape we see the oven shake violently and
and
black
it says
smoke
that
billowing.
the
she
camera
if she
runs for
pauses,
45
though.
minutes until the camera dies.
Right. So like,
so
yeah,
did she turn the oven on? Did we see her do that?
Yeah,
Or?
it says, well, according to the author, it says that 8 minutes into the video. Okay, wait. After positioning the camera to include both her and the kitchen stove in the image, the tape then showed her turning on the oven, opening the door, crawling inside, and then closing the door behind her. And
It's a
then 8
VHS,
minutes.
so-
Yeah, and well,
How
what
does
about
a VHS work? Can you rewind and then tape over
you
it?
can
and make
rewind
You
and,
can.
and
You
tape
can,
over,
and then you
yeah.
can cut and make it. It's possible to do. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying
yeah.
That's what this person is, but they could have rewound and then cut it perfectly at the time and then put someone else in there because it's positioned in the same exact spot. She has a tied up person literally behind the camera 10 feet away, can't make any noise.
sure.
Gets out, rewinds 30 seconds because it's not moving at all until the shaking part, and then just switches the body.
Oh man.
Could be, right?
But then the thing is, what I'm asking is, once you get, are you saying that she's already dead when she puts her in the oven?
Maybe, maybe not.
She would have, if she was gonna put another woman in the oven. I'm assuming that she had already killed her because you can't put an alive woman in an oven
Without
but then
latching it.
yeah, because then the thing is like why. So here's
Yeah,
where I'm
I
stuck.
I agree with that.
Well, so but
think
then
she's
here's
dead.
but then here's where I'm stuck, Pascal, is because for it to not come unlatched and for the person to not kick out of the oven, they'd have to be dead, right? Because why the logical answer would be kicking your way out, no matter what.
They could break them.
But it,
They could break their
shakes
bones and
violently.
stuff.
Exactly.
I
but
know,
then
that's the
later it
detail.
shakes violently.
You could put them
So-
alive in the oven. I think if you
without
if I broke all your bones
without
and
them
stuff,
pushing the oven door open.
There's a
how big is
there's
this
a-
oven? And
Do you guys have an oven? in
we
your
do.
house?
Yeah.
It's not big enough.
Does
to
it
put
have a
grown
cleaning
person.
setting on it? Have you ever used that? It does lock the door.
Yeah.
For like
Oh, it does?
3 hours. Yeah. I think ours does.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Not that we clean our oven,
Okay.
but I've
So
accidentally
there's
hit
that
it
too.
a few times. But
I think it's
my
possible.
question is, how
That's
big
the-
is this oven?
That's the real question. Is
I guess
Like,
I mean
two
I
different sized women can
she-
fit in it.
I could crawl into an oven. I think if I
I've
was
seen big enough
stuffing myself in.
I've seen big enough ovens too.
Yeah.
Even older ones that a person could fit into.
Sure.
Right.
Especially if they're like flexible or their bones are broken and just get folded up.
Oh,
Could be
man.
alive. That's what I mean. Could have been put in there alive, mangled, alive still.
Mm-hmm.
Put in there. Yeah, went to a dark place, but
It's not super fun to think about,
No,
but it's
it's not.
super fun to think about.
yeah,
You know,
I get that.
and like the woman who got in the oven the first time, like, is she acting alone?
Right.
Or did some sort of dimensional shift happen and she
God.
changed into a different woman?
And what does this have to say?
Is she an
What does
alien?
this have to do with Minneapolis, other than the opening line in a town near Minneapolis or
That
something
it
like
that
that?
it happened. That means it was in Minnesota. It's a Minnesota mystery.
So this might be based on a true story. If you guys are looking for more episodes,
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm gonna look up some stuff about the charred woman and see what comes up. If it's this same piece of shit writing,
oh,
then no, sorry, author. But intriguing story, and I do like it.
it gives you a lot to think about.
It does, because I was just kind of thinking like, oh yeah, she crawled in the oven and killed herself, and then Pascal was like, but what if she swapped the body? And I was like, oh shit. That's why you
Yeah.
need a duo
And I
on this.
I want to know what kind of oven it is too.
Yeah.
Like, is it a gas oven? Is it heat?
It's in the
you know, they're
80s.
both
Electric.
heat. So,
It's the
Probably.
80s. It's got to be heat.
oh yeah. They're ovens. They're all heat.
Yeah,
that's what
it's
they
gotta
do.
be heat.
They
Yeah,
heat,
it's
heat
heat.
things up to cook them.
Right. Is it
Or,
gas or electric? I think
it's
it
gas.
might be
not
electric. Could be. They had both at the
It's
time.
electric.
I'm pretty sure.
boogie woogie
So-
woogie.
Doot, doot, doot.
I'm really excited to read more of these. Do you guys want to hear another one or no?
Do you want to read
Let's
another one?
Do one more.
I would be down.
Okay.
Do it. Do this next one.
Do you want the Wendigo or the Kennebec County disappearances? Ooh, disappearances.
Let's ask our listeners which one would you like to be read right now?
I think I heard someone say Kennebec County.
There you
Okay.
go.
I feel like you guys covered Wendigos, so there's probably not a lot that's super new with that, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I love reading about cannibalism, but
We also could.
Who doesn't?
it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this one.
I had like some games on this that I wanted to play with you guys, but I think we're gonna run out of time after this.
We'll have to save it
One
for
of
the
them
next
was
time.
like, "Who would you eat?" And like, "Fuck, marry, eat."
Oh.
You know, but that's fine. We'll just have to do it again.
We can do it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, marry, eat. Do you have a quick one?
Yeah. Nick Swardson, Maria Bamford, or Vince Vaughn.
Who's Maria
I only know
Bamford?
Vince Vaughn.
She's
He's the only one I know.
Oh man, okay, those are all Minnesota comics. Maria Bamford's this blonde lady. She's from Duluth. She's pretty famous. Have you seen Arrested Development?
Yes.
She plays Debris, the lady who Tobias like falls for. That's a meth head. All right, so that's not a good one. Richard Ramirez, right? You know him, serial killer, Los Angeles. All right, so
Just list them off until we recognize all three.
know,
and
right?
then
you're just like, I only want to marry Pascal. I mean, it's not a good game.
Oh, I
but-
think it's a great game if I know who Maria, what's her tits is.
Bamford.
Yeah.
I think you'd recognize
Does she have
her.
like, does she wear glasses and she's like kind of mousy looking?
She's kind of mousy looking. Yeah.
Was she in,
does a lot of voices.
I
Kind
think
of
I
like,
might know who you're talking about. So Vince Vaughn
She's a comedian.
yeah.
and Nick
And
Swardson.
she's in. Is she? Okay.
She's in a
She's-
lot of stuff. I can't
I
think of what
I
she's
know
in
who
right
it is,
now.
actually.
She has Lady Dynamite is a show they made about her.
Is
on
that her?
Netflix. That's her.
That's her. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
I
think I know
would
who
I
it
would
is.
marry her. I don't like that show, but I would marry her. Who would I kill? I really hate Vince Vaughn.
Who's the other? Who's the
And
other
Nick
one?
Swardson
Nick
is
Swardson.
a comic. If you would have ever watched Reno 911, you would know who he is. But he's from St. Paul.
Yeah. Did you ever see
And-
Benchwarmers? Or Click?
Yeah.
You know Click?
Yeah, I do know Click.
He's the guy in Bed Bath and Beyond who just wants a friend.
Okay, I don't know it that well. I
He-
saw it one time a while
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. No, it's a bit role. He's in 2 scenes.
Okay.
So I guess then I would fuck Nick Swardson, and then I guess I would eat Vince Vaughn. I bet you he wouldn't even taste that good though, because look
Probably
at his
not.
ass. You know what I mean?
Not in this day and age. Swingers
I
Vaughn.
don't like him.
No,
No.
I'm not a huge fan, but he's from here.
Yeah.
I would have said Jessica Biel, but I think that's obvious. Kill Jessica Biel. Just kidding. She's fine.
Gotta love Jessica Biel.
Seventh Heaven. Another show.
Seventh Heaven.
Did you watch Seventh Heaven, Pascal?
I did not.
Oh, you'd love it. It's about a reverend and his 7 children
Yep.
Okay.
And their dog.
and their dog,
Well, apparently, I
and
would
none
love
of the
it.
kids look like each other.
None of them.
And I'm
It's
pretty sure
crazy.
one of them
Really?
is like a completely different race from the other ones, and they just don't.
That might be true. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that.
Okay.
I think so.
And
But-
they're biologically
They're
his
supposed to
kids?
be.
I think so. I
And
don't
then
think
the
they-
mom is Bonnie Hunt, or
Is it?
is that her? Was
It
that who
could be.
played? Or am I
I don't
getting
remember.
that confused with Cheaper by the Dozen? I can't remember.
I don't know.
You get everything confused with Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yeah.
She's always like, wait, is that Cheaper by the Dozen or Get Out?
Shut up.
I get it. Yeah. That's a big confusion.
Oh my god.
Oh.
All right, should we rock and roll with this
Let's dive into
story?
it. This one's a
do
little
it.
longer.
All right, a full 10 pages, I think, or 11, but it's really big font.
Really big
Which is
font.
what Sam told us when we got here. He was like, I've got some stories for you, but don't worry, it's really big font. So makes it easier for me.
It's not as big as I hoped, I guess. But that's that's always the case, I think.
So if I'm saying this wrong, I apologize. But the Kennebec County disappearances. In 2012, a friend of mine told me that there were 10 people that went missing in the summer of 1988 in Kennebec County, Minnesota. Kennebec County is the county I grew up in, so naturally, I was curious. I talked to a deputy. Oh, this must be a small town. You're just talking to deputies, and okay, this is interesting.
For a while, I was thinking that you were actually telling the story like from your life.
No.
That first person threw me off.
Oh my god.
Oh man, just talking to deputies. How small was that town?
Okay. I talked to a deputy at Kennebec County Sheriff's Office about the disappearances of 1988.
Disappearance?
Shut the fuck up, Pascal.
I'm sorry, I couldn't let that one slide. I just couldn't.
I knew it as it was
Disappearances.
coming out that you were gonna say something. Okay. The deputy told me that I should talk to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. I called the BCA and asked them, and they refused to talk about it. Ooh, fishy. I sent them a Freedom of Information Act. I'm literally like scanning my finger across each word like I'm a 5th grader who can't read. Okay.
I thought that was part of the story.
Sorry.
Fine.
Okay. I sent them a Freedom of Information Act request, and they sent me a couple of documents. The documents contained police reports, witness interviews, names of locations where the disappearances took place, names of the investigators, and a transcript. The BCA threatened legal action if I used real names of the people involved, so all the names in this post have been changed. Okay.
Respect the victims.
Exactly. First case happened on Friday, May 27th, 1988. College students, 23-year-old Owen Clincory, that's too bad, 19-year-old Natalia Johnson, and 20-year-old Ethan Williams. That sentence just ends. Okay. Oh my god. They were out celebrating the Memorial Day weekend on Knife Lake. Are you fucking with me?
That's a real place, right?
I think so, actually, because there is some hauntings at Knife Lake or something like that, or a murder. Maybe, I think I might have something about this saved for us to talk about on Minnesota Mysteries. This is good.
All right.
Knife Lake is a 1,266 acre lake about 74 miles north of Minneapolis. Owen and Natalia were engaged and were going to get married on June 12th, 1988. The night of the 27th at about 11:30 p.m., Ethan, Owen, and Natalia were sitting around a campfire and having a good time. A man wearing a red and black coat walked into their campsite. "Have you seen my dog?" the mysterious man asked. "No, we have not seen your dog," Owen said. What breed of dog is it?" Ethan said. Who the fuck wrote this? Are you fucking kidding me? "A German Shepherd. His name is Russell. If we see a lost German Shepherd, we'll return him to you," Natalia said. "Thanks. I'm in a cabin on the other side of the lake." I'm glad that the author was there for this.
Yeah, and your dog can swim across 1,200 acres of water. And who spaces acres of lake? I've never heard that before. That's crazy.
And he's got what they were saying down verbatim.
What breed is it?
Jesus. The man walked back into the darkness, and Natalia started joking about how creepy the man was. Owen and Natalia went into their tent while Ethan extinguished the fire. I just want you guys both to know right now that I'm reading this as well as I can, but there are so many spelling errors. So
I believe it.
You're welcome.
And appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. I haven't had a story read to me in a long time. Hear that, Mom? Yeah, competition now. I'm just having people on the podcast to read me to bed.
Oh my god.
So if I fall asleep, guys, just let yourself out.
What if she was like listening to this and she's like, Sammy boy?
I'm sure that wouldn't be the first time she cried listening to the podcast. Unfortunately.
Oh no. Sam's mom, we love you.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
Ethan then went into his tent and went to bed after he extinguished the fire. Okay.
That's
So,
smart. That's good camping.
And Owen and Natalia had already went to their tent. So later that night, Ethan awoke to the sound of Owen and Natalia's tent opening. Figuring one of the two might need to use the bathroom, he went back to sleep. The next morning, Ethan went back... The next morning, Ethan woke up around 10:30 a.m. and walked outside of his tent. He noticed that Owen and Natalia's tent was open. He thought they might have gone to do something without him, and he got fucking pissed.
Oh, man.
Okay. So at around 11 a.m., Ethan went fishing. That's sad. As the day went on, Ethan started to worry that they might have left without him. Ethan ran to see if their car was still there, and to his surprise, it was. Ethan thought it, I can't with these fucking quotes. Ethan thought, maybe they went back in the evening. Ethan gutted his fish that he caught, then put them over the campfire. Ethan, the person who wrote this is the murderer.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
we
what
know.
the fuck? Okay. Ethan gutted his fish that he caught, then put them over the campfire. Ethan ate his dinner and watched the sunset. When Owen and Natalia still did not show up, Ethan went searching. Ethan was shouting their name and also hitting his neck because of the mosquitoes. What the fuck?
It's a good detail to know.
He saw a German Shepherd playing fetch with an old man wearing a red and black coat. Ethan remembered that man from the night before. He walked over to him, and the dog started to break. It says break. The dog started to bark. "Stay, Russell!" the man shouted. The man walked over to Ethan. "Hey, you're that kid from across the lake," the man yelled jokingly. "Yeah, and I see you found your dog," Ethan said. "Your friends found him last night." "They did?" "Yeah, they said they heard him sniffing around outside their tent and they returned him." "What happened after they returned him?" "Well, they walked away." "That's it?" "You betcha." Oh, okay, yeah, it's from Minnesota. Got it. Well, I've not seen them at all today. "If they're missing, you should call the sheriff." "Where's the sheriff's office located?" "More about 10 miles south of here." Ethan walked back to his campsite, packed up, and left for Mora. Ethan arrived
I know Mora.
You do?
Yeah. I used to drive through Mora all the time on my way home from Duluth.
Are you a murderer?
No.
Sam wrote all of these.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, shitty writing, and he's like, fucking bitch.
He wanted like an honest opinion, so he didn't tell us that he wrote
I
them.
worked really hard
Oh
on
my
it.
god.
I wish.
No.
That'd be the most productive I've been in a long time, putting out 22 pages
In
of
size
pasta.
20 font.
I don't like to wear my glasses when I write.
Every sentence starts with Ethan. Ethan arrived at the Kennebec County Sheriff's Office. Ethan walked in and talked to a sheriff's deputy. After Ethan told his story and the deputy put out a bolo, which means be on the lookout, for Owen and Natalia, the deputy explained to Ethan that they are adults and could disappear if they wanted to. Okay. Ethan went back home to Minneapolis, anxious for his best friends to be found. The Kennebec County Sheriff's Office did a 2,000-acre search of Knife Lake area, which is, if we remember, larger than the actual size of the lake because it was 266 acres. Oh, wow. Okay.
I wonder if they dredged the lake. Dredged? Sorry, Pascal.
Is that
dredged? Drudged.
Dredged? That sounds right.
I think dredged.
Dredged.
Where
Don't
they,
quote
like,
me on that.
put-
I don't.
They like rake the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Nice.
Why
I
does
don't know.
dredged sounds more correct to me.
They're
but
in
I
a
don't
county
know.
that I've never heard of in Minnesota, so probably not.
Well, bring in the FBI.
God damn it.
Kennebec.
Cannabis. The sheriff talked to a witness only identified as JBW. Really?
JBW.
The sheriff talked to you and you couldn't give him your name, or
And we have all
The
the other
author-
people's full names.
I know the author seems to know a lot of intimate details down to him slapping his neck over the mosquitoes, but he didn't get this guy's full fucking name. That's great. JBW told police that the night Owen and Natalia disappeared, he was sitting around a campfire. He saw a bright, blinding light. He told police that he took a picture of the light and gave his camera over to the police. There was no picture included in the documents from the BCA.
Probably had his flash on. Idiot.
Yeah. Police also talked to the old man in the red and black coat. Not so mysterious anymore after the police have talked to him,
No.
I'd have to say. The police asked the man if he'd seen the two campers. You betcha I saw them that night. I lost my dog and I asked them to help me find them. They did, and the boy and the girl returned them, he said. Did you see or hear anything after they left? The police officer asked. Nope, but Russell was staring out the window and growling. What was he growling at? I don't know. That dog growls at everything.
Oh.
Even his own reflection. Well, thanks for your time. These are the real words. So the search lasted 2 weeks. After no hope of finding Owen or Natalia, the sheriff called off the search. To this day, Owen and Natalia are still missing. I tried to get an interview with Ethan. This fucking idiot tried to get an interview. Are you kidding me? They're like, you can't read or write or talk, sir.
Yeah,
so no.
The email they sent to Ethan was like Ethan was spelled wrong. Like,
Or they were like, sure, let's just give this asshole a story. And then they told him this. And he was like, yeah, I'll write it from memory.
I was slapping my neck because of the mosquitoes.
To this day, Owen and Natalia are still missing. I tried to get an interview with Ethan, who is now 51 years old. Unfortunately, Ethan is locked up at Minnesota Correctional Facility, Oak Park Heights, so the Minnesota Department of Corrections won't let me talk to him. In 1999, Ethan's girlfriend broke up with him. Bitch. In a jealous rage, he killed her and her friends.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was charged, tried, convicted, and got 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. There's our story.
That's where you started.
And that's where it ended. But don't worry, because we have a second case. The second case happened on the night of Friday, June 10th, 1988.
What?
Yeah.
That's the story. Oh man,
That's-
that's all we have for Ethan. The
That's all we
disappearances drove him crazy. And
It's like, oh no, my friends, where did they go that night? Blah, blah, blah. And then he kills everyone?
how many
kills
pages
people
do we
later.
have left? That felt like 10.
Didn't that feel kind of long? And
I
I
mean,
don't
it might have
trust.
just
I
been
don't.
the writing.
I don't trust that guy's. Well, look at this. This next page is all a back and forth conversation that he probably fucking made up. This guy. Well, there's a reason he didn't put his name to this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. You sack of shit. If I just read this and you're like, that's mine, then guess what?
Oh man.
Go to hell.
But please don't sue me for copyright. No, I don't know. That's. Do
Or
you
just-
want to
or
read
just-
the rest of it? That's pretty bad.
Just go back and revamp it. Do a rewrite. Your first this is kid. This is clearly your first draft. So,
Writing is rewriting, as we've
right,
all learned.
exactly. Just got to go back,
Amateurs.
fix everything that you said, every single thing that you said, pretty much. So
All right. Well, we are running over time, so maybe we don't finish that one.
no.
You guys have any final thoughts, final words, anything you want to plug?
Final words. Are you?
No, I'm not
Oh
gonna.
my
I'm not
goodness.
gonna-
Okay. Oh my God.
Last words. Sorry.
Do you have any last words, Pascal and Lauren?
We've got Minnesota Mysteries season 2 coming back in May, and hopefully we'll be coming back here even sooner.
Let's do it. Let's get something in the books.
Awesome.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming by, guys. This was a blast. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Oh man, Trey, look up at the sky. It's a full moon on the Sabbath. This is scary. Break it down. I was working late on my Haftorah when I heard a knock
on my bedroom door. I opened it up, and to my surprise, there was a werewolf standing there with glowing gold eyes. He said, tomorrow, my son, you will be a man. But tonight's the time to join the Wolfen clan. Tomorrow you will stand at the beamer and pray. But tonight, let's gaze at the moon and bathe. Werewolf for mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. Werewolf for mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves.
All right, that was great, Trey. Okay, it's over. That's a wrap. Oh,
The next day, what happened? The Toma didn't teach.
Oh, this
I
man.
got up in front of everyone to give my little speech. Then my teeth turned into fangs and my nails into claws. And I nearly dropped the Torah when my hands turned into paws. I growled and I roared and my rabbi did as well. It was a rocking werewolf zoo at Temple Beth Emmanuel.
hey man, where'd you learn all these Jewish words?
My manager Harvey Lemmings. Werewolf bar mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves.
I just don't think the idea of the song can sustain itself for that long. It seems a little sweaty now. So
This whole premise is sweaty. We had a reception at the Larchmont Country Club. They served a real nice brisket and an 8-foot party sub. I danced with my cousins, I got money from my folks. We had a lot of fun making circumcision jokes. Then I remembered the premise of my song. I was at a nice reception, but the werewolf part was gone. So we pulled ourselves together and we're wolfmen again. Just in time for monster fight to begin. All the country club employees were a brain-sucking pack who had all turned into zombies and were on the attack. So we fought them and some Draculas and Frankensteins too. Cause you gotta love bar mitzvah even if you're not an artist.
there's no such thing as
Werewolf bar mitzvah, spooky,
Steins.
scary.
No plural,
Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. Werewolf bar mitzvah, kooky, hairy. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. I don't want this. I don't like this. This is scary. Turning into werewolves and stuff. You know?
I don't know, Trey. I'm not feeling it. This ain't no dick in a box. Mazel tov.